What's up guys, welcome to the CLI Essentials, today with zsh. Zsh is a fast, bash-compatible shell for your terminal. Paired with oh-my-zsh, you get easy themes and powerful plugins. The terminal is the program that displays text to you and lets you interact with it through the shell. The shell is a command line interpreter, the program that actually parses and executes the command you type into the terminal. The shell is the first layer of productivity that we encounter in the moment we open the terminal, and that is why it's the first video here in the series. So in this guide, we're going to make a terminal faster and smarter in minutes. We're going to explore the 4 things that you're going to do with zsh 90% of the time, which are themes, auto-suggestions, auto-completions, and Vim motions inside your CLI. But first, we're going to set up everything, of course. Point 1 of the setup is the installation. So in Arch, you just install with pacman -s zsh. Gonna do it like this. Go inside my container. Install zsh. Done. And then we're gonna go to oh-my-zsh, and as I said before, oh-my-zsh gives you themes and plugins for the zsh shell. We're gonna explore all of this in a second. I have the command right here to install it. Copy that. Go into my container, paste it. I say yes, give me the default shell. And then you see right away that number 1, you see shell successfully changed, doop-de-doop-de-doo, and this one changed. Before it was this, and now it looks a little bit more funky. This is what we wanted. Next step is the configuration. And we configure the zsh shell with the zsh-rc, and I say right here, just paste these into a zsh-rc, and I'm going to walk you through all of these in a second. So first, I'm going to just copy this one, go over into my container, and say vim zsh-rc, and then just mark everything, paste what I just copied from the article, write everything, and now just walk you through. So this is not interesting. This is the theme. We use Cypher in this case. I'm going to talk about themes in a second. We load some plugins. I'm going to talk about this in a second. We source oh-my-zsh that we just installed, so that is also normal. Then I say we have some convenience aliases right here. And this is just, if you type in L, you're going to get ls minus lah, and so on and so forth. This one enables us to hit Control R to fuzzy find through the history. This one configures the zsh history. This one is a little bonus. It gives you the control backspace behavior that you would know from a normal text editor. And that is it so far. I'll write this one. And now I can close it. And load the changes that I just made to my zsh file through source. And now you see it says oh-my-zsh plugin auto-suggestions not found, and plugin zsh-vi-mode not found. We're gonna install them in a bit. I'll move on in the article. And a quick one right here, if you want to change the theme, there's a simple zsh_theme property inside your zsh-rc, and all you have to do is you're gonna check out the themes on GitHub. And then you see there's a whole collection of themes that you can choose from. And then what you would do, you would just copy that name right here. Copy the name right here. Go into a zsh-rc. And change that value like so. And this would then change the theme. We move on to the plugin section. And as I say here, from now on, basically everything we do with zsh is done with plugins. It's always the same. We have a zsh custom path that we can call like so. And then it directs us directly to the .oh-my-zsh custom path. And as we remember before, we set up the convenience aliases, so I can just type in L. And now I get the full output for what I would normally have to type in ls-lsh4. Right, we just type in L and we get the same thing. These are the convenience aliases. Anyways. You see that we have a pattern here. We have git clone, then we want to clone the plugin right here into our custom zsh directory, your plugin. This is always the same. After cloning the plugin, or even before cloning the plugin, it doesn't really matter. You just have to put in the plugin name into your plugin section of your zsh-rc, which is right here. Here we have the plugin section, okay? And now we can move on to actually install the plugins that I mentioned before for auto-completion, auto-suggestion. We're going to use zsh-autosuggestions for this. And what it does for us is, when you start typing command in the terminal, it fills in the rest for you. And it looks like this. I start type in dot, and I already get .NET build based on my zsh history, because it's just the latest command related to dot. When I now hit the right arrow, like so, I can from here on, with arrow up and down, navigate further in the zsh history based on .NET build. Very powerful. We're going to set this up right now. I go back in the article, and then we do the exact same thing. We're going to put zsh-autosuggestions, which is the name of the plugin, into the plugin section of the zsh-rc, like so. And you see right here, we already have it inside, based on the copy-paste thing we did before. And then we're going to just git clone the actual plugin into the zsh custom folder path. Like so. Boom, go back to the container, close Vim, paste the git clone command. Boom, it's installing the plugin. And now when I source my zsh-rc like so, then it tells me that the only plugin it couldn't find was the one we didn't install yet, was zsh-vi-mode. But it could find the other one. So now if I start typing something like source, see that? It's in a Docker container, so I don't get the real accurate colors, but you see already I typed in SOU and it filled in the rest for me based on my zsh history. All the suggestions work. Next thing on the list, auto-completions. And what completions do, completions add valid parameters to your command. And this one looks like so. I go back to the terminal and I start typing .NET. And now if I hit tab, I get everything I can do with .NET. And now the interesting part for me is, then if I go, let's say .NET solution, from here on, if I hit tab again, what I get is more parameters, but only the ones who are relevant for .NET solution. And so on and so forth. This is what I mean by completions. And I wrote right here, there are 4 different ways to get completions in zsh. And I listed them from top to down based on how annoying they are. The least annoying way is auto-completion out of the box. This is what we get with .NET. Like what you see right here. This is all coming just with the .NET command. There's no explicit completions file for the .NET CLI. And then we have the completions that we have to load with the zsh-completions plugin. And then we have completions even more annoying that are not supported by the zsh-completions plugin. And then we have completions that we have to load explicitly with the completions file. And we're going to go through that one by one. I already talked about the out-of-the-box auto-completions. Then we talk about zsh-completions. And as it says right here, this project aims at gathering/developing new completion scripts that are not available in zsh yet. The scripts may be contributed to the zsh project when stable enough. So this is a little bit third party right here. Anyways, when you scroll up and you go to the source of this repository, then you see all the completions that are supported by this plugin. And you see it's quite a lot, but for example, what it doesn't give you is Docker. There's no Docker completions file here. Anyways, we are going to, as always, clone the Git repository, go to the container, copy this one right here, go back to the article. And then we see we have to update the zsh-rc like so. We have to add the zsh-completions path, and we have to enable zsh/style completion compatibility. And there's an explanation right here. You don't really have to understand this. All we have to do is we're going to copy those right here. Then we're going to look for the source zsh oh-my-zsh line in our config like so. And there you see this is the line we're looking for. And above this line, we're going to paste what we just copied. We write and close the zsh-rc, source the zsh-rc, and move on with the tutorial. And the next point here is completions loaded as dedicated plugin. And I put it right here. If a certain completion file is not contained in zsh-completions, like Docker, as we checked before, we might need to load a dedicated plugin for that. Now, remember in the beginning, we installed oh-my-zsh, and oh-my-zsh already comes with some plugins installed that contain their own completions. When you fuzzy find through the folder structure, you see that, for example, it comes with Docker already, and there's a completions folder right here. When I move on in the tutorial, I see that those completions are not active until you explicitly load them. For example, I go into my container and I type in Docker and I hit tab, I get nothing. And when I move on in the article and I scroll down, I see to fix this, we have to load the Docker plugin, this one right here, that we already installed, into our zsh-rc, like so. Again, plugin section, put in Docker right here, and then we get the completions. So I do this, open the zsh-rc, like so, type in Docker right here, save this one, close this one, source the zsh-rc again, and now if I type in Docker, I get the completions for that. The next step in the tutorial is the most annoying part, which is the further completions part right here. Some completions might not even be provided as a plugin. In that case, we have to load the completion file directly into the zsh-rc. And all you have to do is you have to download the .zsh file directly via curl, excuse the formatting right here. And we're going to do this right now. Go back into the container, do the curl. And then as we see in the tutorial, we have to source the file that we just downloaded explicitly in the zsh-rc. Again, I open the zsh-rc and I go below the auto load part right here, paste that line, close the zsh-rc, source it again. And now if I hit AZ, I get the auto completion for the AZ CLI. So let's talk about the Vim Motions now. So in order to bring a Vim Motions into a terminal like so, I have a little screenshot right here. So as you see right here, I have a little further reading section. All I'm going to say is I'm using hyperlint on Arch, and I'm installing hyperlint on Arch with the zsh-cooled Arch hyperlint install script, and this one already comes with zsh. And also what you might want to check out is the awesome zsh plugins GitHub page where I have a lot of inspiration, what else you can plug in into your zsh. That was it for today. Papa.